I'm going to be as honest with you as I can. This is not going to be pretty at all.
And yeah, it was tough. I shot that small little clip the night before the tournament. After 2 days of hard pre-fishing, after 2 days not being able to get on anything on Carr Lake. And I knew going into the super tournament on Carr Lake that it was going to be tough. And it was. So tough, in fact, that it ended my season. I haven't wanted to make a video. Anybody that follows me knows that usually the Tuesdays after the tournament, my videos come out when I do a recap. It's been a month, almost a whole month. And I haven't wanted to look at the video. I haven't wanted to make a video. I haven't wanted to get on YouTube. I haven't wanted to do anything related to fishing. It absolutely burnt me out. In fact, I haven't even put my boat in the water since that tournament, which is very strange for me. Usually every weekend I'm going somewhere. So I don't know if it was a combination of a really long season with so much travel, so much money spent, so much work and so much dedication, and for it to end as abruptly as that. I just, on the ride home from Carr Lake, I was just burnt out, and at the same time relieved. Like, okay, the season's over. You know, you're not going to a regional. The wild card's probably going to be 10 hours away, which it is. And so the season's over. Now we get to sit back and reflect and see what we could have done differently, and you know, things I should have done differently, and more than anything, just go back and analyze what you could have done differently to accomplish your goals this year. Going into the season, my goals were to make it to the regional, get in the top 45, ultimately make it to the All-American, which requires a top 6 finish in a regional or a wild card. We didn't accomplish that. Didn't even come close, really. I finished 66 in point standings. I went back and did some math. I think if I had caught one fish in the super tournament, I'd have made it, because the points are time and a half, and I was really close, and a lot of people struggled in that day, that weekend. You know what? I don't even want to talk about Carr Lake. I don't even want to talk about it because it still bothers me to this day. It's going to bother me until next April when the season kicks off again. So what I want to do is just do a recap, and I want to talk about the entire season, what happened, what I could have done differently, and what I might. We'll dive into a little bit of next year. What are we going to be doing next year? How will I do things differently next year? But the season started this past March on Carr Lake, and ironically it ended on Carr Lake the same exact way. I zeroed. The entire season I was behind the 8-ball. I zeroed the very first tournament after having really great practice. I was really confident going into the tournament. The night, 2 days before the tournament came, like a northeaster come in or something. Either way, it was gusting 60 miles an hour. The water temperature dropped 5 degrees overnight, and my fish scattered. I was on a shallow wood bite. I was throwing a spinnerbait on wood and getting bit. I was calling my shot. It was too easy. That bite went away. The fish scattered. The fish went deeper. I could not repattern them on tournament day, and so I zeroed. I went all day and I didn't even get a bite. It is what it is. That kind of thing happens. But when you zero in a BFL, and if you're fishing for points and you're trying to make it to a regional, zeroing is not an option. For anybody watching and you want to know how to get to a regional, weigh in one fish at each individual tournament. And then even if you struggle all year long, as long as you weigh in one fish, you can go into that super tournament knowing you have a chance. If you have a good day and put something together. When you zero the first tournament of the year, you're only going to get 20 points, and you are just absolutely behind the 8-ball for the rest of the year. That's what I was. After Carr Lake, I went to Smith Mountain. 3 weeks later, the schedule this year was horrible. 2 BFL tournaments in 3 weeks. Who makes that schedule? Who does that to your anglers? I mean, seriously, who does that? Why do that? The expenses I incurred of March 2018 were ridiculous. Between gas in the truck, gas in the boat, hotels, cabin rentals, or B&B rentals, houses, food. It was ridiculous in March. But I went up there and I caught a 5.5 pounder. I caught one fish in 3 days up there. And so I made that one fish count. And so I got some decent points on that day. And you know, the season wasn't dead yet. If I had zeroed on Smith Mountain Lake, the second tournament of the year, I probably wouldn't have fished the rest of the year. It was snowing on Smith Mountain Lake. It was horrible. I don't want to go to Smith Mountain Lake in March ever again. It's too cold. I don't like fishing in the cold. I did not like how our schedule set up this year in March. After Smith Mountain, I want to say we took a good long break. I want to say we took 2 months off. We didn't fish at all in April or May, which is great times to fish. Again, the schedule was ridiculous. Anyway, after Smith Mountain, we went to High Rock. And High Rock was a great day for me. I had a good week of practice up there. Finally, I felt like a pre-fish paid off. And I finished second place. And so I jumped up. I had a big jump in the point standings. After the third tournament of the year, and you get a second place, I jumped way up, and I was on an absolute high. And you know, a couple weeks before that, I had won a local tournament here and won $2,000. I was on an absolute high in May and June. I was fishing really good. I was doing new techniques. I was dragging a worm, and I was just fishing slow and methodical. June was an awesome time for me. So I finished second in BFL, got a lot of cash in my pocket, and my confidence is through the roof. After that, though, I take that BFL second place and I ride into the James River in July, and I'm just on top of the world. I'm just feeling like if there's fish on this log, I'm going to catch them. I caught 15 pounds in practice on Thursday before the James River tournament, figuring out the tides, figuring out, okay, I got a bite here at 7:30 on Thursday. That means about 9:30 on Thursday, they're going to be, you know, patterned about the same way, about the same location on the bank, because it's a tidal river and it's, you know, the water level's changing. So I'm methodically planning all this stuff out. Smoked them in practice. I mean, smoked them. Just could not have asked for a better day, better pre-fishing. All right, again, throwing a big worm, a big profile bait. Come tournament day, I only catch 3, and they're nothing to brag about. So what did I weigh in? 5, 6 pounds, something like that. Maybe not even that much. Either way, I got points, of course, and I maintained my, a path to a regional. But I feel like I could have won the damn thing. I really did. I wasn't even trying to catch fish Thursday, and I just smoked them. Friday too, caught a 4 pounder first thing Friday morning. Maybe 4.5, and I was just feeling so good. Come tournament day, they quit eating my big profile lure, my big profile bait. They didn't want my big worm anymore. My co-angler behind me finished in 4th place, smoked them all day long behind me. I'm not going to give away his lure, but he was throwing something much smaller. He was throwing a small profile bait. I would throw up on a tree that I knew I had caught fish on Thursday. I would catch a 11-inch fish, 10-inch fish, throw it back in there. Before I could get my line back in the water, my co-angler set the hook on a 2.5 pounder. So things like that happened during the James River tournament. My co-angler was really good that day. He outfished me. And by the time I changed to a smaller profile bait, it was too late. I changed at 12:30. I put one more 2.5 pounder in the boat. But it was too late at that time. So I feel like I missed an opportunity on the James River. And to this day, if I could go back to any one day, this season, it would have been that day. Because I felt like I could have done some real damage that day. And then that takes us into our super tournament in September that we just had. And I don't even want to talk about it. It still stings me. It still hurts. I did not have good days in pre-fish. I caught one fish there, one keeper fish there in 3 days. Pre-fishing was horrible. Could not establish any kind of pattern other than schooling fish, which is so unreliable. It's not even worth targeting. But that's what I did on tournament day because that's absolutely all I had was schooling fish. Just a struggle, just a big time struggle. Zero. So I zeroed twice this year, finished in 66 in the point standings. Could have been a lot different. I should be getting ready to go to Norman right now. I should be getting ready to, I should be just studying the maps and doing all kinds of things for Norman, but I'm not. Instead, I am preparing for a club tournament. I am preparing for a Bass Nation tournament. I'm preparing, that's it, just local stuff. I want to go to Norman, but I can't. I didn't make it. And even if they were to call me right now and say, hey, we're taking the top 66 guys because we had some people not going, you want to go? I'd say, nope, I didn't earn it. I don't want to go. So that's that. So, season's over, we move on, big deal. Learn from it. I learned a lot. And I'll tell you this, going into next year, things are going to change. First of all, I'm not dead set on what I'm fishing next year. I don't know if I'm going to fish the BFLs. I don't know if I'm going to do... I don't think I'm ready to go fishing open. I don't think I'm ready to fish an open, make that kind of investment, and I don't think I'm ready to go fish the Costas. I will openly and publicly say my goal here is to go pro. All right, to be able to fish at the highest level. I think that's what any aspiring tournament angler's goal should be, and that's my goal. Am I going to get there? The odds of that are slim to none, but that's my goal. In order to make it there, you have to continue to go up the ladder. You have to continue to grow as an angler, to win tournaments, to gain experience, and to fish the higher level competition. Fish against a higher level of competition, and you get those higher levels in the opens, in the FLW Costas. I don't think I'm ready for that. It's pretty obvious, you know. You're zeroing in tournaments. A lot of tournaments you're not even catching your limit. I'm not ready for that. So, in all likelihood, going into 2019, I'm going to fish the Piedmont Division again. And I'm going to change how I do things. I'm going to change how I pre-fish. I'm going to change when I pre-fish. It's unlikely I'm going to be doing a lot of fishing on Fridays anymore. It may involve more traveling, actually, because if I go down there on a Monday and Tuesday, I'll have to drive back home, and all these tournaments are hours away from me. But I think I'm doing myself more harm than good fishing on Thursdays and Fridays. I may fish on a Thursday. I may fish on Wednesday and Thursday and take Friday off. I don't know. But I'm going to change how I pre-fish, where I pre-fish, the time I pre-fish. The entire practice schedule is going to be different. I have enough experience now on Car Lake, on, where else are we going next year? Go to Smith Mountain. I don't have a ton of experience there. I've only been there once. But I have enough experience on Car Lake this year where I feel like I don't need to go down there Thursday and Friday before. I feel like I need to go the weekend before, whatever pattern they're on the Saturday and Sunday before in an April tournament the week before. They're probably going to be doing the same thing. So I think I'm doing myself more harm pre-fishing on Thursday and Friday. I really do. I just feel like I need to take at least a Friday off, not burn up my fish. I think that's what happened on James River. I burn up my fish too much on Thursday and Friday. So we're going to change that up. I'm also going to tighten my circle of people who I allow, in my little group here. I need to surround myself with better people. I need to surround myself with people who can help. Ron Russo he's a big friend of mine. Fishing these tournaments, we've roomed together, we've shared information together. I'd like to think that I've helped him, and he's definitely helped me. My circle is going to shrink on who I trust, going forward into next year. If you have done any research at all or been on the internet at all, you've seen the FLW has released their schedule for next year for all divisions. I briefly thought about fishing the North Carolina division and the Shenandoah division, but the regional for the Piedmont division is on the Potomac, which I'm a big river guy, so I want to do that. The regional for North Carolina and Shenandoah is Lake Hartwell, and I've never been there before. It's also would be a little bit further to drive than the Potomac. The schedule for the Piedmont is released. You go to Smith Mountain. First of all, there's no March tournaments, so they did a great job with that. There's no March tournaments, and there's no tournaments, no 2 tournaments per month. Thank you. You did a great job in that aspect of the schedule. I love fishing in March, but it's very unpredictable. I don't want to fish in the snow. I don't want to go up to a mountain lake and fish in 30-degree weather. I just don't. I will do it. Obviously, I did it last year, and I'll do it again, but I just prefer not to. Starts off again next April on Clar Lake. There is 2 BFLs on back-to-back weekends, I think. I think one is on April 6th in the North Carolina division, and there's another one the following weekend for the Piedmont division. We then go to Smith Mountain Lake in May. Looking forward to that one. Then in June, we go back to High Rock. It's the exact same time of year that I went to High Rock this year. I'm already excited about that. That tournament's, 10 months away? 9 months away? I'm like, pumped. Let's go back to High Rock. After that, we go to the James River again. Really looking forward to that tournament. Really looking forward to getting a little bit of redemption on those fish up there. And then our super tournament is back to Smith Mountain Lake. So I am about 4 hours away from Smith Mountain Lake, 4 hours away from High Rock, 2 hours from Clar Lake. So I got a lot of travel time this year. Just like or a lot of travel time next year, which is just like this year. Ton of travel time. But it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. This is my passion. It's more than a hobby. I could be spending money on a lot of other things. This is what I want to do. So it's worth the travel time. It's worth the expenses. Speaking of expenses, the FLW has decided to increase their entry fees for boaters and co-anglers. The entry fee for a for a pro going into 2019 for a BFL is now $300. It was $250 a couple years ago. I think it was $225, $230, something like that. So it's steadily going up and up and up, and people are up in arms about it. They're not even increasing the payouts for the regular tournaments. They're taking all that extra money and sticking it in the regionals, where you can win $70,000 as a boater and a boat and all that kind of stuff, which is great. That's awesome. But it's going to cost $1,550 to fish an entire BFL season just in entry fees. Co-angler entry fees went up to $150, I think. I think that's pretty cheap for a co-angler, to be honest with you. You're getting to ride around you're riding around. You don't have any expenses other than your gas to get to the lake. $150 is, I think co-anglers are getting off pretty easy, especially when my co-anglers don't even provide gas or anything like that. I got stuck about 3 times this year with co-anglers not even offering any, tip, I should say. So it's still co-anglers, that's not too bad for co-anglers. Only went up by $25, I think. I think it was $25. Either way, it's $150 for them and $300 for the boaters. The super tournament cost is now $350 for the boaters and $175 for the pro anglers. That didn't change at all. But either way, $1,550 to fish the entire season next year. People are up in arms about that. I don't fish for the money. It is what it is. It's an expense. You just have to budget that extra bit in there, and it just is what it is. I'm not going to complain about it. The FLW puts on a great show with these BFLs. They do pay out a lot of money to the first couple of first top 3 maybe, and after that it probably does drop off a little more than it should. But it costs a lot to put these tournaments on. It does. I mean, they're pulling those trailers. They're all the technical work as well. Website. I mean, as soon as you weigh in, your stuff is updated on the website pretty quickly anyway. I mean, there's a lot of technical stuff that costs a lot of money. I work in the IT field. I know how much that kind of stuff costs. It's expensive to put these on. You got to pay people to help. So I get it. I totally get it. So you won't find me complaining about entry fees going into the next year. I'll pay it, and we'll move on from it. And we'll budget it in there. It just means you need to fish better. Make sure you cut a check to get your expenses back. So what's that? What else? Going into next year, I don't know. We're just going to do a better job. We're just going to try harder. We're just going to keep grinding. We're going to keep gaining experience. And so when we know, hey, water is such and such degrees, they should be doing this time of year. They should be at the mouth of creeks this time of year. They should be in the back of the creeks this time of year spawning. Hey, stop using 18-pound line. Drop it down to 10-pound line to see if you can get more bites. Go a little bit more finesse here and there, and just keep trying to become a better angler. That's the goal. That's what we're going to shoot for in 2019. 2020 is the make or break year for me. I made that goal a couple of years ago. 2020 is my year. 2020 is where I take the next step. Bass fishing or trying to become a pro is all about climbing the ladder. 2 years ago, I took the first step on that ladder. Actually, I should say 5 years ago, I took the first step on that ladder and started fishing local club, and I started fishing some North Carolina Bass Nation stuff and fishing bigger and bigger tournaments. And then 2 years ago, I started with the BFLs and, started fishing against higher levels of competition. And then so I made my mind up, hey, we're going to do this for a few years, see where we go. And in 2020, make up my mind. Where are we heading? Are we closer to our goal than we were? Can we compete? Can we travel 10 hours away to a lake in Florida and put together a solid finish in a Bassmaster Open? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think I can do that in 2020. But that's a year down the road. Right now I'm focused on 2019. I'm putting this year behind me. We're moving on from it. And, mark it down as a learning experience. The good thing is with my second place on High Rock, I got all my entry fee money back plus some. So, you can hold my head up high about, in regards to that. So next year's, the expectations are going to increase as I continue to move up here and continue to try to get better and better. So that's it. That's 2018, and that's looking forward to 2019. So what happens now with the channel? This will be my last FLW video this year. I'll post content as I feel like I need to, as I feel like I want to. I have some videos coming for a rod review or two, Kistler Z-Bone. I have a rod review video for that's coming real soon. It seems like in the wintertime I do a lot of reviews and how-to videos and that kind of thing. So that's probably what the future of the channel is going to be for the wintertime until we start back up next spring with our BFLs. So I appreciate everybody watching. I got more subscribers this year and more feedback this year than ever before. We're going to continue to try to grow as an angler. We're going to continue to try to showcase all of the highs and lows of tournament bass fishing here. I'll talk about it. I'll show you big time catches. I'll show you big time misses, which I've had a plenty of, and not a plenty. I had a one or two. I'm usually pretty good at sticking fish and getting them in the boats. Just getting the bites is usually the tough part. But I'll continue to showcase all those things with you as I go. While the FLW season for me may be over, fishing isn't over. October is a hot month for me. October and November. I got a bunch of big stuff coming up, local stuff coming up. Got a 6-man tournament for the Bass Nation. I'm gonna try to make it on the state team for the 3rd time. Got a club classic coming up, which is gonna pay a lot of money. And then my club tournament year starts back over in November. So we start with a fresh slate with that, or a clean slate with that. So a lot of fishing is gonna happen. A lot of stuff's going on. I encourage you to follow me on Facebook. I post more information about fishing there than anywhere else. So look me up, Jeffrey Davis Fishing. And I appreciate you watching and following me this year. It means a lot. All the comments, all the thumbs up, all the thumbs downs, I appreciate all of them. So that's it. We'll see you next April, or sometime in between maybe.